Welcome to Nitro. WCW Official Eric Bischoff will be here later tonight to address the Brock Lesnar situation from last week. If you missed last week's Nitro, Lesnar, who has been suspended for over a year, made his shocking return at the end of the show and attacked Seth Freakin Rollins. But before we get to that, up first, we've got our first of two Money in the Bank qualifying matches. Trick Williams out first. Trick new to WCW, came to WCW last week in the draft. And his opponent, much the same. We talked last week a lot about losing Jey Uso. Jey, who was the #1 overall pick in last week's draft. While Bischoff couldn't do anything about that, he decided to draft another Uso, Jimmy Uso. We thought we were going to get a Uso reunion, and we got a brief one last week on Raw. But then later in the night, Eric Bischoff would make Jimmy Uso one of WCW's selections. And he is here, and he's got a huge opportunity here tonight. As he takes on Trick Williams, and the winner of this match will move on to the Money in the Bank ladder match. So Jimmy, who makes his WCW debut, he could fast track a title opportunity. And Drew McIntyre from behind. Drew, who's been a thorn in the side of Jey for months now that Jey's gone. Kind of wondered what Drew would do, and now it looks like he has turned his attention to Jey's brother Jimmy, as he jumps him before this one even gets started. And now Trick coming down to the floor. Looks like he's kind of thinking about what to do. Hey, as far as I know, Trick is not behind this attack. You've got a huge opportunity here. And if you let Jimmy kind of get himself together, it could lead to you losing this match. And so for Trick, you can't blame him for taking advantage of the opportunity. Maybe he can send a thank you card to Drew if he's able to advance here. And Jimmy, you can tell he's out of it. Scissor kick from Trick. Now Trick going to the corner. And delivers a big boot to the head of Jimmy Uso. Sends Jimmy into the ropes. Trick shot connects. Goes for the cover. And Trick Williams moving on to Money in the Bank. Jimmy, you could tell, disappointed. Back out is Drew. To add more insult to injury, rub a little more salt in the wound, but Jimmy, guess Jimmy not going to stand down. He's heading to meet Drew on the stage. We better get some security out here because this one is about to explode. And Jimmy right to the Scottish psychopath, and these two going back and forth, trading blows. Security out here. McIntyre breaks free. Security finally able to get these two separated and restore some order here. Next, we've got tag team action. Out first, DIY, who comes to WCW via the draft. And with that draft selection, they are reunited with an old friend, Johnny Gargano's wife, and their former manager, Candice LeRae. Candice, who has been here in WCW, here tonight in the corner of Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano and their opponents. Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins, the Street Profits. Profits, I'm sure, looking to welcome the new tag team here to WCW in the best way they know how. And that is to show them just where things stand here in the tag team division. And Montez with a knee to the face right off the bat. Takes Johnny Gargano down to the floor in the process. But that little side quest gave Ciampa an opportunity to recover. And now looking to make Montez Ford pay. DIY probably happy for a change in scenery. It's been kind of a rough ride for them here in the open mic universe and in the WWE. They're hoping maybe now that they are in WCW that maybe they'll have a little championship luck. The Street Profits know a thing or two about that. Former two-time WWE Tag Team Champions as well as one-time WCW Tag Team Champions. Tez with the cover. Johnny wrestling in to make the save. Big splash from Montez Ford. Now looking to, get the big man in there. Makes the tag. Angelo Dawkins in for the first time. And doesn't stay long as he tags Ford back in. Spine buster. Frog splash. The crowd behind the Street Profits and Montez Ford going back up top. Second frog splash. Hooks the leg. And the Street Profits pick up the win. And welcome DIY to WCW with a loss here in their debut match this week on Nitro. Up next, we've got our second Money in the Bank qualifying match of the night. This one, a qualifying match for the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Out first, Giulia. Giulia still fairly new to the open mic universe. She made her debut back at the Royal Rumble. She was also a part of this year's Elimination Chamber match. But tonight, she meets one of WCW's newest additions, Liv Morgan. Liv, not unfamiliar with WCW though. Year one of our universe, she spent here in WCW where she was a one-time WCW Women's Champion. The last 2 years over in WWE where she was a one-time WWE Women's Champion. And Giulia going for a quick cover, but Liv able to kick out. Now Liv able to get out of the way. And Giulia with a reversal. And Liv with a drop kick off the top rope. Now Liv going back to the corner again, but misses with the big splash as Giulia able to get the knees up. And now Liv in a bad spot here. Now Giulia gonna fly. Connects with a drop kick off the top rope of her own. Goes again for the cover. But only gets a one as Liv able to kick out again. Now Giulia just beating on the top of the head of Liv Morgan. Lifts Liv up, but Liv trying to fight her way out, and she does. Code breaker. And a jumping complete shot. Now looking to get Giulia away from the ropes. And she does. Now goes for the cover, hooks the leg. And at the last second, Giulia able to get her right shoulder up. Kick to the midsection. Now Giulia with a hammerlock Michinoku driver into a pin attempt. But Liv kicks out at 2 3/4. That gets Liv up. Oh boy, I don't know that Liv's going to be able to kick out of this one. And she doesn't. Giulia, your winner. And this is a huge win for her as she joins Rhea Ripley, Chelsea Green, Raquel Rodriguez in the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. We will now hear from WCW Official Eric Bischoff. Bischoff has been a busy man these last few weeks, scouting a lot of talent, prioritizing his own roster, and getting ready for the draft. And I think he did a great job. You know, some years, obviously you look at the draft, you're going to lose some talent, you're going to gain some talent. But there have been a few years in past drafts where maybe one brand kind of did a little better than the other. This year, I think it's kind of even. I think both brands are better now post-draft than they were going into it. Obviously, for WCW, you lose an AJ Styles, you lose a Jey Uso. But Bischoff able to hold on to Cody Rhodes, brings in Randy Orton, brings in Seth Freakin Rollins. Part of the topic of what we're going to hear from Bischoff tonight. Last week on Nitro, Rollins would defeat Drew McIntyre in the main event. The lights would go out. And Brock Lesnar, who's been suspended by WCW management for over a year, showed up, chokeslammed Rollins as we went off the air. Bischoff says, so I've spent the last week trying to get a hold of Brock Lesnar. I've called him, I've called his representatives, and they're not answering the phone. They're not calling me back. So let me spell it out to you. Big man, if you're ready to come back to work, let's talk business. My phone is always on, but know that it's not about working when you... Seth Rollins interrupting the boss here. He says, I may be new around here, but Bischoff, know this. I'm not someone that's going to let what happened last week slide. So I don't care what you need to do. Fly to Saskatchewan, ride on a 3-legged donkey around a farm. You get Brock Lesnar back here. If that means you got to lift his suspension, whatever it takes, I want Lesnar at Money in the Bank. Bischoff says, I'll see what I can do. Rollins wants the Beast at Money in the Bank. We'll see if Bischoff can deliver. Thanks for watching. Huge Money in the Bank qualifying match coming up on Thunder. Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton.